Hey everybody, and welcome back to Empty Pockets Ironworks. In this entry in our video series, we're going to be creating one of my personal favorite projects, the metal deer skull. This gathers a lot of attention at local shows. People just love these things. They're cool to look at, they make an interesting art piece for your home, and they're a lot of fun to make. So follow along with me as we go through the steps of how I create our Empty Pockets Ironworks deer skulls. If you would, at the end of this video, or now, hit that like button. Also click the notification bell so that you can be notified when we upload new content in the future. We're just now starting out and we're really hoping to continue to grow this channel. As I said earlier, this is part of our video series as I continue to learn and grow as a blacksmith and practicing artisan metal sculptor. I hope to be able to share my do's and don'ts with you as well. I've been very fortunate with the experience that I've been able to gain, and if you're able to learn absolutely anything from me, good or bad, hopefully that will give you an incentive to like our page. Check us out at facebook.com/EP Ironworks. Leave us a like, leave us a comment, let us know that you've seen us on YouTube. As you can see here, I'm locking the flat plate of the deer skull into the vise. I kind of created an invisible line from the top of the eyeball to the opposite side of the snout. I'm going to give it a couple good whacks. 1, 2, 3 for good measure. Personally, I advise everybody to do this. It keeps the skull uniform, which gives you a good starting point. Don't try to just manhandle it and start beating and forming it. I suppose you could if you had a swage block, but to me this is easier. It also kind of helps start the transition from the top of the skull to the snout. And there you can see it. Kind of looks like a screwed up triceratops at the moment. Now here I'm going to put the divot into the top of the head. As with anything steel sculpture, yes, it's art, but I also like for things to be accurate. And if you've ever seen a deer skull, they have this divot in between the top ocular bones on the crown of the skull. And that will get exaggerated a little bit later on. And there you can see the forge. I'm going to slide it into the forge here. With the advent of using a propane forge, it's great for me because I can direct the heat. There you can see I'm starting to use the round ball to round out the eye sockets. Now the tools that I have made specifically for doing these are things that hopefully you can find relatively cheap or you already have access to. This is actually just a 2-inch tow hitch ball that I've locked into the vise, and I've made several deer skulls with it, several other types of skulls, and it just works perfect for shaping those. In the future I may add a different rod to the bottom of it. Now here is a specialty tool that I made for shaping leaves. It serves as a multi-purpose tool. Using a straight peen hammer, I can reach down in and put the nose bridge in by forming it between the two tow hitch balls that have been welded together. And so a total of 3 tow hitch balls. If you can find those laying around, 2-inch or 1 7/8 doesn't matter. They work extremely well for this application. Now here you can see I'm using the front of the anvil, my smaller Fisher anvil. This is to shape the end of the skull itself. It does get a little distorted during the forging process and while you're shaping. And I'm going to let the video play now and chime in occasionally if there's something going on that I feel that you might need some help with, or doesn't seem that self-explanatory. Now in this very abbreviated video, it takes approximately 20 to 25 minutes to complete. This actual deer skull in the shop today took me about 4 hours total from start to finish. That's from cutting it out from the plate to clear coating. And so they are labor intensive. There is a lot of hammering, a lot of shaping, a lot of forming that you're not going to see in this video. As with most of our videos, they are instructional, they are influential, I'd like to think, but they are not exactly step by step. I'm not going to hold your hand throughout the whole thing. These are art, and they do take some time. Unfortunately, these items like this at our local shows, they do gather a lot of attention, but a lot of people are sometimes appalled by me asking, say, $200, $250, $300 for an item like this. They see it, it's heavy, it's 1-to-1 actual deer skull size, it's really cool, they'd love to have it, but there's that sticker shock from the fact that it does cost upwards of $200. I'm hoping by showing everybody this video, you kind of understand the process, the labor intensiveness that is involved with creating such a piece of art. You don't just snap your fingers and it appears. It is a very laborious process to make something like this. And it's a lot of fun. I'm really hoping that these continue to take off and sell. It's an extension of myself. It's a way for me to get my art out there. And I really appreciate everybody that watches our videos, everybody that comments, everybody that likes our channel, our Facebook page, our Instagram. All of that is big morale boosters. I can't say I'm living the dream because I'm not making a living doing this, but I am doing something that I love, and if you purchase something from me, that gives me an extension to be a part of your life, and that in itself is more valuable than money. Now here you can see I'm just kind of spattering the antler bases with the MIG. I haven't adjusted the settings. Basically, I'm just welding like I don't know what I'm doing. And there is an art form to this. You want to concentrate certain areas, you want to create swirls, you want to zigzag. You don't want it to have any sort of uniformity. It has to look organic and natural. And this is the best way that I've been able to find to do it. I can't necessarily say that it's entirely my idea. I've seen other artists use a similar approach in their art for texturing metal, and it works really well. You do have to go along afterwards and knock off some of the excess burrs, sharp points, and get rid of some of the excess MIG wire that may stick to your piece. Here you can see I've locked the deer antler into the vise, and I'm using a oversized bar, kind of like a cheater bar, to just add the little subtle nuanced twinks to the tines themselves. You don't want to leave them straight. They need to be bent. I like to bend them forward, bring the main beam tine up a little bit, and then from this point we are going to kind of cut and shape the ends of them. There's a little bit of finesse to this. You got to be careful. If you are drawing the bar towards yourself and you've only got a little bit of material sticking out of the top of the vise, be careful that it doesn't slip and you don't hurt yourself. Voice of experience here. I've had a couple of headaches, as bad as I hate to admit it. Here you can see I'm going to use a cutoff wheel and just kind of remove a bit of the excess off the ends. That will allow me to taper in and shape. For that I will use a flap disc. Not really concerned about grit wise, it's just whatever I have available in the shop. And yeah, it's just a matter of continuing to form. From that point we're going to go head back over to the welder and we will position these and start tacking them on. And there you have it, 2 deer antlers for a 6-point buck. Whoop, and there we skipped forward a little bit. I've went ahead and placed them on there. I think we had some battery issues with the camera. This deer skull in particular is more accurate than even previous ones that I've done. The antlers are in the correct orientation in relationship to the skull. I'm a perfectionist. I also don't like for things to take forever, so I have to fight myself, this internal struggle, so that I don't hurry through things. This one I've got more experience with, so you can see I've been able to kind of move along at a quicker pace. The original deer skull that I did does have the back of the skull, the bottom of the skull. I went overboard with it. It's, I don't know, 8 or 9 point. It weighs about 27 pounds, and it's not real practical to hang on your wall. It took me, honestly, about 16 to 18 hours to get it to the point that it is now. This one, like I said, from start to finish, between 3 to 4 hours. So this is the way to go. Now this one, later on you'll see I bend a piece of 1/4 inch rod and then weld it to the underneath side of the skull in a loop. This allows it to be hung on the wall for display, and it also allows it to set on its own. On the bench you can see my Welpers or welder's helper pliers. I use those to pull off any of the excess MIG wire that may be left where we spattered the bottoms of the antlers. I'm using a copper bristled brush here just to do the initial cleanup. It's a paint stripper style brush. It works extremely well for getting rid of rust, mill scale, and also the overflow from the MIG welder. And it just allows you to clean things up a lot faster. If you have little weld spatters that you can't get off with the brush, of course use a chisel and a hammer. Make sure you're wearing eye protection for that. And we're going to continue to clean up. We're going to do some quick final adjustments to the skull, and we're almost finished. Okay, we're almost finished up here. Here I'm going to do something relatively dangerous. Don't ever reach in front of your cutoff wheel. I know it's a lame excuse, but I kind of had to for the video orientation. Make sure you wear your PPE. That's my disclaimer for the day. Be careful. Don't get hurt because you watch me do something stupid. This rod here, we're going to finish rounding it out. I'm going to use the clutch metal bender here momentarily to just put a nice radius 90 into this. This new clutch bender, it's a new addition to the shop. I absolutely love this thing. It came from Northern Tool. It was extremely affordable. It came with I think 7 dies, and it is just an absolute wonderful tool to have in the shop. As you've seen earlier, it made very quick work out of that 1/2-inch rebar with minimal effort on my part. Back to what we're doing here to make the hanger. You can see I just kind of dog-legged it. I'm going to attempt to fit it in here. I should have edited this part out, but yeah, it didn't quite fit the way that it should have. Anyway, make it just so that it fits, which, hey, look, I fixed it. Wow, magic. Anyway, you want to position this so that it doesn't stick up past the back of the skull, so that if it's hanging, you don't see it, and so that it also acts as like a kickstand or a base for the skull to sit on. And there you see it. There's the finished product. These slides for some reason are going by way faster than what I had planned on in the editing. Thank you for watching. Visit us at facebook.com/EP Ironworks. And remember to like and subscribe. I know you're reading this as I'm saying it. It's probably annoying. Anyway, I do truly appreciate everybody joining us today. Hopefully you did watch the entire video. If you found it helpful, if you liked it, didn't like it, doesn't matter. Leave us a like, comment, or subscribe. All that jazz. You know it's YouTube. So help us out, like the page, and like our channel. And look forward to future content coming at you real soon from Empty Pockets Ironworks. Thank you.